Have you ever found yourself anxious in a situation that logically shouldn't be scary at all? Like being afraid to speak up in a meeting or feeling your heart race when someone gives you feedback or lying awake worried what others will think of you? What if I told you that that reaction isn't actually about the present moment at all? There's a surprising link between these adult anxiety patterns and rules you internalized decades ago as a child, rules you might not even realize you're still following. Today, I'm going to help you identify these hidden connections and show you the first powerful step for breaking free. Think about this for a moment. As children, we're like sponges, absorbing messages about how we should behave, what makes us good, what makes us bad, and what we need to do to be loved and accepted. These messages don't just disappear as we grow up, they become deeply embedded rules that continue to drive our behavior and emotional responses well into adulthood. The problem is, we often don't recognize them as outdated rules. Instead, when they trigger anxiety, we think something's wrong with us. But what if I told you nothing is wrong with you? What if your anxiety is actually an intelligent response to rules that once helped you survive? Let me share some common rules many of us internalized as children that might be fueling your anxiety today. Imagine a child who learns that mistakes lead to harsh criticism or punishment. That child likely internalized the rule, I must be perfect to be safe and loved. Fast forward to adulthood, and this becomes perfectionism. Obsessing over details, procrastinating because you're afraid to start until you can do it perfectly, or feeling intense anxiety when you make even the smallest mistake. Or perhaps you learned that your needs were less important than others. The rule became, I must please others to be worthy. And now, as an adult, you find it almost impossible to say no, feel responsible for everyone's feelings, or experience anxiety whenever someone seems disappointed with you. Another common one, strong emotions are dangerous or unacceptable. Children who were told to stop crying or don't be angry often grow into adults who feel anxious when emotions arise, desperately trying to control or suppress their feelings. So, how do you identify which childhood rules might be driving your anxiety? Here's a simple but powerful approach. First, think about a situation that consistently triggers anxiety for you. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, setting boundaries, or receiving feedback. Now, instead of focusing on the situation itself, pay attention to the thoughts that race through your mind in those moments. What are you afraid might happen? Are you thinking they'll think I'm stupid if I say this? That might connect to a childhood rule that your worth depends on appearing smart. Or perhaps if I say no, they won't like me anymore. Pointing to a rule that your acceptance depends on always saying yes. Or maybe I can't make mistakes or everything will fall apart. These feelings point to an internalized rule that you must be perfect to prevent disaster. Now, once you identify the fear, ask yourself, when did I first learn this? Who taught this rule to me? You might be surprised at how quickly a childhood memory surfaces, perhaps a parent's reaction, a teacher's comment, or even a significant emotional experience. The key insight is this: your anxiety isn't irrational. It's your system trying to protect you based on rules that once helped you navigate your childhood. But here's the thing: you're not that vulnerable child anymore. And those rules are likely causing more harm than good now. If you're Finding this helpful so far, please hit the like button. It really helps the algorithm show this to others who might benefit. This brings us to the first powerful shift you can make to break free from these patterns. I call this shift moving from what's wrong with me to what have I been carrying. This shift is transformative because it changes the entire lens through which you view your anxiety. Instead of seeing anxiety as evidence of some personal defect, you recognize it as a natural response to emotional burdens that you've been carrying, often for decades. Let me walk you through how to make this shift. First, the next time anxiety arises, pause and get curious instead of critical. Rather than thinking, why am I so anxious? What's wrong with me? Ask yourself, what might this anxiety be trying to protect me from? What old rule is being activated? Approach this discovery with compassion rather than judgment. These rules weren't randomly chosen by you, they were adaptive responses to your environment as a child. They serve to prepare you then, but they don't serve you any longer. Third, gently acknowledge to yourself, this is an old rule I've been carrying. It protected me then, but it's not serving me now. I can begin to set it down. Just this awareness, this shift in perspective can create immediate relief because when you stop blaming yourself for your anxiety and start understanding its origins, you create space for actual change rather than continuing the cycle of self criticism that only intensifies anxiety. Let me share what this might look like in practice. Imagine you feel intense anxiety whenever you receive feedback at work. The old approach might be, why am I so sensitive? I need to toughen up. What's wrong with me? Now, with this shift, instead think, this anxiety is showing me an old rule I've been carrying. Probably something like, mistakes mean I'm unlovable. No wonder I feel anxious. I've been carrying this heavy rule since childhood. This isn't about the feedback I'm receiving, it's about what it triggers from my past. Do you feel how different that is? One path leads to more shame and anxiety, the other opens the door to understanding healing. This shift from what's wrong with me to what have I been carrying is just the first of 5 transformative steps that can help you break free from these patterns and quiet your inner critic for good. I've put together a comprehensive guide called the 5 Simple Shifts to Quiet the Inner Critic and Feel at Peace After 40 that walks you through all 5 shifts with practical exercises to implement them in your daily life. You can find the link in the description below. If today's video resonated with you and you're ready to go deeper, click the link in the description and download the free guide. But before you go, I'd love to hear which childhood rule you really identified with. Remember, the anxiety you feel isn't evidence that something's wrong with you. It's showing you what you've been carrying. And recognizing these old rules is the first step to setting them down and creating new patterns that actually support the adult you are today. Thank you for being here. Until next time, be gentle with yourself as you uncover these patterns. You're not broken. You're just beginning to understand the story behind your anxiety. And that understanding is where true healing begins. And as always, thank you so much for letting me share this information with you.